everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I will be showing you the first 2 steps in solving the Rubik's Cube. Before we get started with this tutorial, the most important step of all is to not get frustrated. I know many people who start solving the Rubik's Cube and after a few minutes of not understanding, they simply throw it to the side and give it up. The key is to not get frustrated and have fun. Make sure you have a lot of time, sit back and relax. Something many people do not understand is that you have to want it. If you really want to learn how to solve the Rubik's Cube, you will solve it. So, step 1 of the Rubik's Cube is to learn the faces. Many people skip this step because they think it is unnecessary to learn this. Unfortunately, I'm here to tell you that if you do not know the faces of the cube, you will not understand what I or anyone else in any video is talking about when they say a command like R, U, R prime, F prime, L. So let's get started. Make sure throughout these first steps that you hold the cube with the white facing up and the yellow facing down. It doesn't matter which color is facing you, just as long as the white is facing up and the yellow is facing down. So if I give you a command like R, this is what you will do. R stands for right face. This is the right face of the Rubik's Cube in the way that we're holding it. If you are holding it with red facing you, this would be the right face of the Rubik's Cube. If you're holding it with green facing you, this will be the right face of the Rubik's Cube, and so on and so forth. So if I give you the command R, you will turn the right face of the cube clockwise like this. If I give you the command L, you will turn the left side of the Rubik's Cube clockwise just like this. If I give you the command F, you will turn the face of the Rubik's Cube clockwise just like this. If I give you the command D, you will turn the bottom, and D stands for down by the way, you will turn the bottom of the Rubik's Cube clockwise just like this. If I give you the command B, you will turn the back of the cube clockwise just like this. And most importantly, if I give you the command U, you will turn the up face of the Rubik's Cube clockwise just like this. Now where things may get just a little bit more complicated are when I give you a command like R prime. So what is R prime? If R is right face going clockwise, R prime is the same thing, it's just the opposite. So if I say R prime, you turn the cube counterclockwise just like this. If I say U prime, it's the upper part of the cube counterclockwise just like this. If I say L prime, it's the left side of the Rubik's Cube counterclockwise just like this. If I say F prime, it's the face of the Rubik's Cube counterclockwise just like this. If I say D prime, it's down, the bottom part of the Rubik's Cube counterclockwise like this. And if I say B prime, it's the back part of the Rubik's Cube counterclockwise just like this. Now that you know the basic commands of the Rubik's Cube, we can proceed to mixing the cube. In order for you to follow, mix your Rubik's Cube the same way that I mix mine. I will put the algorithm in the description below so that you can follow along. For this solve, I will keep green facing me. Just make sure you have the white facing up, yellow facing down, and green facing you as well. The first command we are given is R2. You might be panicking and thinking, wait, I never learned R2. Well, don't panic, because R2 is simply a regular R but 2 times. So let's continue with the algorithms. R2, U2, R, U2, D prime, L2, B2, F prime, L2, R prime, B, D prime, L, U, B2, L prime, R2, D, R prime, U, D, L, B, U2, and B prime. If you follow this algorithm carefully, your cube should look just like mine. If it doesn't, go back and try it again slowly. Now that we have our cube all mixed, we can proceed to the first step in solving the Rubik's Cube. The first step in solving the Rubik's Cube is to have a white cross with the corresponding edge pieces matching the center pieces. What I mean by that is this. In this example, we have a white cross and the corresponding edge pieces, which are these edges right here, matching their center pieces. With that being said, the center pieces are what decide what color will be built on that side. You don't decide it, the cube does, because the center pieces never move. For example, this blue right here, the centerpiece, it can't move. You can turn it from side to side, but you can't move the exact centerpiece. So blue will be this side, orange will be this side, green, red, white, and yellow. So let's get started on building this cross. In the scramble that I made, you can see that we have an orange edge piece, an orange centerpiece, and a white at the bottom. In this situation, we're very lucky because all we have to do is an F2. You can see that 25% of the cross has already been made. We have white with white and orange with the orange centerpiece. Let's move on to the next one. The next edge white piece and green that I see is right here. We must move this white piece up here so that the green can match the centerpiece. Now in order to do that, we must bring this piece to the bottom. Now, you might be asking yourself, why can't I just bring this up and then turn it? It'll match. Well, if you do that, let's see what happens. You can see that this piece jumped from where it has to be all the way over here. So, with that being said, if you move a white piece to the top layer and move it, it can't be moved freely because it's going to mess up your cross and you'll never finish it. So back to where we were at this step. So if we can't put a white piece at the top and move it freely, what we must do is bring a white piece to the bottom. Now, let me show you. If you do an R prime, our green piece is now at the bottom and it can move freely without disturbing these pieces up top. You can see that the bottom layer is moving, but the pieces up top are not. So now that we have our green at the bottom, we must align it to its centerpiece. So we will do a D prime right here, and you can see that this edge piece aligns with its corresponding centerpiece, and the white is where it needs to be. All that needs to be done is it needs to be flipped, and we'll have 50% of our cross done. So we'll do that with a simple F2. Now you can see that we have white with white, white with white, green with green, and orange with orange. Now let's move on to the next one. The next one I see is this one right here. This is a little tricky because it's on the other side of where it needs to be. This white needs to end up here, and when the white is up here, the red will be over here. So in order to do that, like we did with the green, we must bring this to the bottom so it can move freely. We'll do that with a simple R prime, get it out of the way, so let's do a D or a D prime, doesn't really matter. In this situation, I would do D prime. So get it out, we moved it out of the way, and then we're going to move this back to where it was. So what we did was bring it down, take out what we need, bring it back up. So now we have the red piece and the white piece at the bottom, and we can move it freely. So we'll take it to where it needs to go. So it's right here and it needs to be right here. We'll do a D2. 1, 2. And now it's where it needs to go. Now, all we need to do is a simple F2. Now you can see we have about 75% of our cross finished. This last one will also be a bit tricky, but you can do it the same way that I just did the red one. What you will need to do is bring it down, get it out of the way, bring this back up so that we don't break our cross, and now it's down here and it can move freely. So we'll move it to where it needs to go, and with a simple F2, it's done. So now we have our white cross and our edge pieces corresponding with the center pieces, just like that. So that's the first step in solving the Rubik's Cube. Now the next step in solving the cube is where things might get a little tricky and a little bit frustrating, so you have to have a little bit of patience. So the next step of solving the cube is to have the top two layers completed and the white as well. An example of what this will look like is like this. You can see that the white is completed and the top two layers are filled in all the way around. So let's get started. In this situation, what you must do now is flip it. So we will have white facing down, yellow facing up. Now you can see that we will have to do the same thing that we did with the cross, except with the corners. So for example, this corner right here needs to go down here. How do I know that? Because this white piece tells me that it needs to go down, and surrounding this piece there needs to be a blue and an orange. So what I would do is put it in between the blue and orange. So following this corner piece, and with the orange facing you, I'll do a U prime, and now you can see that it's in between the blue, orange, and this piece is going to go directly underneath. So in order to put it down there, I do U prime, L prime, U, L. So as you can see, what we did was take it out to the side, open this hatch up, insert the piece, and then bring it down. And now you can see that this white is filled in, and around it is blue and orange. So on to the next one. Right here, we have another one. We have white, we have red, and we have blue. So let's put it in between with a U prime. Now it's in between the red and the blue. And this white is going to end up directly underneath. So what we do now is have the red facing U, do a U prime, L prime, U, L. And that puts it right where it needs to be. So now we have 50% of this completed as well. All we need left are these bottom two. So in order to do that, we shall find another one. These will be a little bit more tricky, but if you follow along, you'll be fine. So with this one right here, we have a green and a red. What we need to do is put it in between where it needs to be. So with the green facing U, do a U prime, and now you can see that it is in between. The only problem is that the white is facing up instead of facing to the side, where it would be a lot easier. So in this situation, what I would do to bring the white to the side to where it's a lot easier to insert, I would do an L prime, U, L. And now you can see that the piece is just how it needs to be. The white is facing aside, and the green and the red now need to be placed in between. So to place it in between its colors, we do a simple U2 from any color really, because all we need to do is move it 2 times. So you can do it from here, or from here, it doesn't really matter. You do U2, and now you can see, where is it? Right here, that the red is right here, and the green is right here. Now to put it down here, directly underneath where it needs to be, all you need to do is have the white facing you, have the red facing you, and do a U, R, U prime, R prime, and you'll have that inserted. Now all we have left is one more. This is going to be tricky because it's already there, it's just not it's not facing the right way. So what we need to do is take it out and reinsert it. So in order to do that, you lift up, you're going to lift the slot, take it out, bring the slot back down. Now we have it at an angle to where a white is facing away, and we can put this piece, this corner piece, in between its two corresponding colors. So if we move it with the U prime, you can see that it is now in between green and the orange right here. So with the orange facing you, you do U prime, open where it needs to go, insert it where it needs to go, and then bring it back down. That's all we did. Now you can see that the white is completed and the bottom layer is completed, but now we want to work on this layer, which to me is a little bit easier. This part is a lot easier simply because we now have algorithms to work with. Now, for this next part, we need to make sure that the corner pieces go where they need to be. Obviously, if a corner piece has the color yellow associated to it, we know that it will not go in these corners because the yellow is going to be up top. So let's get started. The first one I see is blue and orange. So the first step in inserting these where they need to be is making an upside down letter T. So this right here is an upside down letter T. This right here is half of an upside down letter T because it's missing this right here. So to work with this, we have a full T, and we know that this piece is going to go in between blue and orange. So we already have blue right here and orange right here. So now that we have an upside down T, we know that this is going to go here. So to insert a piece that's going to go to the right side, the algorithm is U, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, F prime, U, and F. As you can see, it inserts this corner piece where it needs to be. It moved it from the top to the right side. If it was to the left side, it would be a different algorithm. So let's look for another one. As you can see, this T right here is damaged. It's only half of a T. So to complete it, we must find a piece that is green and not yellow up top. You see, we have this right here that's green and orange. So let's move it over here. Now we have an upside down T, and this green and orange are going to go right here to the right side. So we do the same algorithm we did before. U, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, F prime, U, F, and that inserts this. So now we can see we've inserted two of them. We're almost done, we only need two more. So let's take a look. We have another upside down T that has already automatically been done for us. But just for the purposes of this video, let's make it a little bit more complicated so that you know what to do if that piece goes to the left instead of the right. So let's say this piece right here is going to go to the left. So here's our upside down T. Don't pay attention to this. Don't let it confuse you. Simply because it's already been inserted doesn't mean it can't be an upside down T right here. So here we have an upside down T, and the piece, instead of going to the right, because this is orange, it's going to go to the left because it's red, red, green, green. So to move it to the left, we're going to do this algorithm. U prime, L prime, U, L, U, F, U prime, F prime. Now you can see it's inserted this piece where it needs to go. Now we only have one left, and it's this one right here. It's already been inserted, but let's say it was over here in the back. All you would need to do is simply move it until you find an upside down T, which is right here. And it's going to go to the left, so we do the same algorithm we just did. So with this red facing you, because it's going to go to the left, you're going to do U prime, L prime, U, L, U, F, U prime, F prime, and that completes it right there. So now you have all of your bottom layer and your entire white layer completed. This will conclude the first half of the learning process. If you followed me along carefully, then your Rubik's Cube should look just like mine. If it doesn't, be sure to watch the video again and take your time learning. Pause it when you need to, and remember not to get frustrated, because that's when you let yourself down. If you have followed me carefully, congrats! You're closer to the finish line than you think. The last 2 steps are a lot easier. Be sure to subscribe for the next half of this series, and if you have any questions, do not hesitate to leave a comment below and I will reply to you as soon as possible. Thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like, subscribe, and share this video. Once again, this is Speed Cube Life, and I'm out.